Good evening. I'm Jeff Baer, superintendent here in Los Altos School District, and Sandra.
Hi there, I'm Sandra McGonigal. I'm the assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction.
And we'd like to welcome you. I think you're all preschool parents, so this is our first outreach to preschool specifically. Talk a little bit more about the events happening at the schools. For kindergarten information, but we welcome you to this first outreach, and we're happy you're here. So Sarah, you want to start the slides? We have a few slides to share with you, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions as well. All right, so again, welcome. Go ahead and advance, Sarah. Sandra, I think you're up.
All right, excellent. Well, we are very excited tonight to share with you a little bit about our TK and kinder programs. But I really love to start with this graphic that we put together several years ago. And it really highlights, while we have an incredibly strong academic program for students, we really want to be sure that we're developing future-ready skills for students. And that starts in our preschool and our TK and kinder programs. So we've developed this portrait of a learner, which really highlights the 6 C's. So in addition to all of the great academics, we're really ensuring that students are developing these really critical skills. And you're probably familiar with all of these skills, and you use these as adults in your work and your personal life. And so these are skills that we're really mindful about developing, starting with our 4- and 5-year-olds. Next slide. There we go. All right, so both of our programs will talk about these different elements and what they look like in both TK and in kindergarten. Our Amazing STEM program, wellness has been a true priority this year, I would say, as we're hopefully coming off of this pandemic. We know that our students have been more socially isolated over the last 18 months than ever before. So we're making sure that students are outside and doing physical activity, that they have social and emotional curriculum and are learning the skills to be a socially and emotionally well individual, that we have counselors available for students who might need somebody in addition to their family and their teacher to talk to. So wellness has been a big priority for us this year. Of course, we love the arts in LASD. We have a fabulous living classroom program, which is an outdoor garden-based science program that supports our in-classroom hands-on science program. So you'll learn a little bit about that. And then we're really proud of our computer science program. We begin computer science in TK. Even we little ones can learn how to really think critically and figure out how to learn the skills of computer scientists. Next slide. You were right on there, Sarah. All of our teachers, we have the most amazing teachers, and we're so proud of our staff, especially our TK and kinder teachers, who really have such an appreciation for working with our small budding learners. It really does take a special teacher to want to learn and educate our 4- and 5-year-olds. We have phenomenal resources and supports for all of our teachers. We have mentors who work primarily with our new teachers. We have instructional support teachers who are available as coaches for all of our teachers and actually work especially close with our primary folks. Our teachers are fabulous in continuing their own learning. And we really pride ourselves in connecting with our parents and making sure that we have a really open and clear line of communication, because you likely have lots of questions with your early learners, and our teachers have great answers and want to partner with you to ensure that all of the students within our district really excel. Next slide. So transitional kindergarten is really seen as a pre-kindergarten program. It bridges the gap between preschool and kindergarten. While academic in nature for sure, we definitely have a greater priority around the social and emotional world as we are preparing students to get into their more traditional schooling and to be really thriving lifelong learners. This year, this coming school year for the 22-23 school year, the age eligibility has shifted a little bit. So actually, if your child turns 5 years old, anytime now between September 2nd and February 2nd, they qualify for our transitional kindergarten program. And in coming years, that span is going to grow until we eventually have a full class, just like we do of every other grade level. But for now, if your child turns 5 between those dates, you would join our transitional kindergarten program. If your child turns 5 before September 2nd, am I right, Jeff? Is my brain working correctly? Then you would be in our traditional kindergarten program. And it's a full day program, 8:45 to 2:45. All of our sites have child care available after school if that's a need for your family. Currently, we have 2 transitional kindergarten classes. We've fluctuated between 2, 3, and 4 classes, and we're ready and very excited about bringing in all of the students who qualify for TK in the coming year. Next slide. So our transitional kinder program, of course, we have fabulous experienced and credentialed teachers. Most of our TK teachers have been teaching TK for quite some time, which is really terrific. It is a very student-centered learning experience. So those of you who've sent your children to preschool, you'll see a little bit more structure in academics, but it's not quite a kindergarten classroom. There's lots of time for active play and songs, group activities. And then there is certainly strong academic times throughout the day as well. We are happy to have small class sizes where our teacher and a full-time aide, who is a really well-trained, wonderful aide, are with students throughout that learning day. We have lots of excellent curriculum around early literacy and early math. But one of our favorite curricula in our TK program is our social emotional learning program. We use the Kimochi program that you may or may not be familiar with, but you'll see our little friend Happy here. The students are introduced to all sorts of emotions. And they're named and they're used, and they have songs and pictures and their loveys and all sorts. So it's really a great way. What we know about our earliest learners is oftentimes they don't have the language to share how they're feeling. And that's why sometimes kids might act out or might not be developing the friendships that they want. So part of our program really does teach these strong emotions so students can communicate, because we know, going back to our 6 C's, that even our earliest learners will thrive if they can communicate their thoughts and feelings and ideas, and it's really terrific. All of our TK students participate in a really strong STEM and science program that is absolutely fabulous. We have a state-of-the-art art docent program, and all of our TK students enjoy our art docent program as well. And we have a dedicated physical education teacher. So students are in PE twice a week with our dedicated TK and kinder PE teacher each and every week, which is terrific. So those are kind of some big highlights of our TK programs. Next slide. And so we thought it might be fun for you to get a little glimpse of what it might look like within a TK classroom. This is Lisa Schubert over at Almond, who's this year teaching kinder, but has in years past taught our TK program. And you'll see a few of our other TK teachers. I will note that the very beginning, it talks about the age range from September to December. This video is a year old, but for the coming school year, it is September 2nd to February 2nd. Play that video, Sarah. Turn on your audio, Sarah.
Our transitional kinder program, we call it TK, is a program that serves students who turn 5 between September 2nd and December 2nd. Dr. Foster went to Gloucester. We do singing, we do dancing, we do art, we do a lot of reading of literature, we talk, we play, we work together. Remember, we only make positive noises. Our TK staff across the district are angels. They have the patience to take them through the process of recognizing letters and numbers and counting, but also spending a lot of time. You may go and find your place at their table. Talking about social interaction and body control and all of the things that you'll need in kindergarten to be a focused student.
The opportunity to teach transitional kindergarten came along. Can you sit crisscross and look at Sarah, please?
My shoes is purple color.
Your shoes are purple color. It was a new grade level for public school. And along with my other 2 TK teachers, we were able to create a program that's just been amazing for children.
Look how tall you are. Whoa.
Do you think you're taller now than when you were with your other partner? I love having students coming into our classroom every day with huge smiles, eager to learn.
And how many fingers do we have?
10.
I have twins. I thought kindergarten would be like TK or more of the same, but it wasn't. They're just like ready, better prepared. They had friends. They got art docent, living classroom, Project Cornerstone, the walkathon. They took part in the STEM Expo.
Ready, nice and tall.
For my older child, we had to go to a private preschool to have a TK experience.
Leg is straight.
But with Aiden's experience here in Los Altos, he went to TK for free. He had a longer day, and the transition for Aiden has been seamless. Our homeschool is actually Covington Elementary, but his TK was located at Springer. They did a really great job. 13, the way that they 14 eased them in to time on the carpet, learning activities, the life of the bigger campus.
Research is really clear that when students come into kindergarten having those solid foundations in social emotional skills and in academic skills, that they will be on track to meet those grade level expectations throughout their schooling.
Who is that, the big red wall?
And that's what our TK program does, is prepare students for that lifelong successful learning.
All righty, next slide, Sarah. There we go. So that's hopefully given you a bit of insight into our transitional kindergarten program for students who turn 5 between September 2nd and February 2nd. We're going to shift a little and now begin talking about kindergarten. So our kindergarten program mirrors, I would say, our TK program in the programs themselves. A very strong literacy program in kindergarten. We know that we are building the very foundations of solid reading, writing, and phonics skills. So we have an incredibly strong literacy program in kinder and fabulous teachers who are passionate about teaching 5-year-olds. We use a different social and emotional curriculum than they use in the TK program, but each of our schools has a really solid social emotional program at their schools. Solid STEM and computer science, of course, math and science, and arts and PE are all a part of our kinder program. Next slide, please. We'll go into some details. So when we think of math in kindergarten, it really is, like I said, around literacy, starting those foundations of learning mathematics and being a mathematician and thinking mathematically. And if you look at this graphic here, it's one of my favorite graphics because it really talks about the shifts that have happened in mathematics over the last 10 or so years in education. And when we think about teaching students how to do math, we want to be sure that we're really strong in all three areas. The conceptual understanding, do students really understand why math works the way it works? And that even begins in kindergarten. We, of course, want to teach more of those procedural, fact-based mathematics, but we really want students to become problem solvers and understand how to use the math in real world applications and really be able to select the math, when to use it and how to use it correctly. So our math program does that in our schools, which is terrific. In kindergarten in particular, they spend a lot of time studying shapes, both 2D and 3D shapes. They get into counting and cardinality, and cardinality is understanding if you have a group of objects, how many in that group. Kids usually count, they just wrote count 1 to 20, 1 to 50, 1 to 100, but there's a difference between counting and counting objects within a group, and that's that cardinality. We want to make sure that our students can compare numbers, that they begin their early addition and subtraction, and really begin the conceptual understanding of place value, which is so critical for all of their mathematics through high school, is that they have a solid foundation of place value, the ones, the tens, the hundreds, and all of that. So our program in mathematics is incredibly strong and we love it. Next slide. And talking about literacy and language, the same is true. We use a workshop format of teaching, reading, writing, and phonics. And so each and every day, our fabulous teachers start their literacy block, whether it's reading, writing, or phonics. And if you see this graphic on the left, this is kind of how it goes each and every day. The teacher teaches what's called a mini lesson. Up in the right-hand pie there, a mini lesson with some explicit teaching and modeling. Students have time to read, or write. And during that time in kindergarten, we're building our stamina because we know a kindergartner often doesn't have the independence to be reading independently for a period of time. So the class begins to build their stamina and they work on 3 minutes of independent reading and 5 minutes and work their way up. By December time, they're reading independently for 15-20 minutes at just right books for them. The teacher is wandering about the classroom, conferring with students, or perhaps pulling a small group. Our kindergarten aide in the classroom is pulling small groups of students and really ensuring that kids are getting what they need, because we know our range of learners in kindergarten is usually quite broad to students who are fully reading and comprehending and students who are still learning their letters and sounds. And so our program is able to adapt to meet all of those needs. And then at the end of each lesson, there is a closure and wrap up and a reminder of what we learned and all sorts of anchor charts and visuals. We've really been developing over the last several years a strong phonics program, which is especially important for our primary learners. We pay attention to the science of reading that's happening, while also balancing out engagement in reading. So our phonics program follows that science of reading guidance of having systematic, multi-sensory, very organized way of teaching phonics. And we do that through this wonderful little character named Mabel, who's an adorable elephant who really walks through the journey of learning how to read with our students in kindergarten. And on the right there, you see just a sample of what writing looks like in kindergarten. It often includes pictures first, and students using, you can see the student, I was brushing my teeth. we see some of the words spelt correctly, I was, which are both common. We call those snap words because we learn how to spell those in a snap. But we also encourage students to use invented spelling in kindergarten. So if I can give you a parenting tip, please don't correct the spelling of your primary age students. This is how teachers understand what sounds students hear to what letters, and we work on, and eventually students begin spelling things correctly, but we don't want to have parents correcting our spelling in those primary grades. But it's really fun to see how students evolve over the course of the year and grow as writers. It's really, really incredible. Next slide. Jeff.
Yes, so hello again. I wanted to just talk about some of the logistics of our district. You live, if you're living in Los Altos, you live in one of our 7 elementary school attendance areas. You probably know where that is, but if you don't, there's a web address there, myschoollocation.com/Los Altos SD for school district. You can type in your address and it will let you know which elementary and junior high school attendance area you live within, if you don't know already. Next slide. We hear a great deal from our families, and we are a strong community-based school district with strong communities at each of our schools. And what we hear over and over again from our families is that they have such tremendous appreciation for our teachers, their dedication of our teachers, the expertise of our teachers, the commitment of our teachers, really doing everything they can to make sure that the learning is tailored for their child. We hear time and again that our families appreciate so much that though we have an incredibly strong academic program, the appreciation is also there that we are focused on their social and emotional development, and that students on our campuses and their families are known by name. They're known as individuals, as people. More, in addition to being students, they are members of that community on the campus. And as you become a member of those communities as well, you become known as well. At first, we'll probably know you as your child's parent, but we'll get to know you as well as an individual, as well as little brothers or sisters that we see so often come to school in a stroller at one point, and then just a few years later, they're walking into one of our classrooms. Parents love that we have hands-on experiential learning, right? Kids are diving into projects, working through design thinking, the computer science, the STEM labs, the engineering projects we have, both for classrooms, and then we have whole school projects as well. And then again, the academics. We know that is, excuse me, we know that is critically important to our families. And we know that we are teaching kids, and that our students are learning incredibly well, and they go on to high school and to college and beyond, prepared and ready for what lies ahead. And that's because of the rigorous program that we have. Next slide. I think go back one slide, Sarah. One thing I'll mention is that we realize you're coming in for as a transitional kindergarten parent, your child's coming as a transitional kindergartner or as a kindergartner, but we're also conscious of the fact that this is the beginning of a journey with us. This is a multi-year journey. This is a 9 or 10-year journey with us. And it is just fantastic to see children grow during that time, and really see them blossom into young adults by the time they walk across those stages in 8th grade. Okay, Sarah. We have a number of, we're going to watch one more short video here, but we have a number of, if you want to peek into what happens in our district and the various programs within our district, I encourage you to go to our website. Under the Who We Are tab, there's a media gallery, and there are a collection of videos there that talk about our individual schools as well as individual programs. So Sarah, do you want to run this one, if you would?
What are our new snap words we have?
Los Altos School District is an incredible school district. It is a great place for students to learn.
So do you see the new ones are in green?
And for families to really become a part of what happens in their child's education.
I think the teachers and staff really tune into each child and tries to bring resources and tools that'll make the child succeed.
As a district, we value the social emotional development of students as much as we value the academics. And we have instructional support coaches and instructional support teachers in STEM and literacy.
Students are high achieving in the Los Altos School District because they have an interest in learning all around. And they like to show their learning. They like to share with the teacher and with each other. They're collaborative.
Our students, I feel like, are getting a really well-rounded program here.
Now, swish your paintbrush in the water and look at how clean your water stays.
We have an amazing art docent program.
1 and 2 and 3.
Phenomenal music education program. Our librarian tunes into what the teachers are teaching in class. We're teaching our students the genre of memoir. She read to them a memoir.
Kids see that learning is all related across content areas. It's not just now we're doing math or now we're doing writing, but you can do all of those things together because learning utilizes all of those skills.
The foundation is proud to support STEM, arts, wellness, and literacy. In all of those subjects, we have junior high electives. So there's things like yearbook, robotics, world languages. We support PE teachers at the elementary schools.
I'm taking them. What's the difference?
If you look at Los Altos, it's not focused on necessarily just this individual path and growth. Certainly there's that aspect of it, but it's trying to tie it back to communities, trying to tie it back to emotional intelligence, to group work, to leadership. And I think those are the keys for the future.
Right there, yes.
Yeah.
When students leave our schools, they will own their learning. We have tremendous resources at our disposal. We want far more than a baseline education for our students. We want an exemplary education, and we have it.
Next slide, Sarah. All right, some upcoming events in addition to this kind of first step here. We have in-person events at each of our 7 elementary schools: Allman, Covington, Gardner, Loyola, Oak, Santa Rita, and Springer. Those are coming up the week after Thanksgiving. On December 2nd, Thursday of that week at 7 p.m. at each of our school sites. You are welcome to just show up. There is no pre-registration for those. And then 2 weeks later, we're also having a virtual event, and you're not required to attend both. You're welcome to, but we understand that some folks will be more comfortable going virtually or attending virtually, and others are more comfortable attending in person. So whichever or both work for you. That one is on, you can see December 15th, Thursday. There is a sign up for that one. It's on our website. But it's also there as well. We'll leave it up there for just a moment. And at each of those events, you're going to learn about our approach to education. Hear from our educational staff at each of our school sites that will most typically include the principal, some of the teaching staff as well. This is at the in-person events. We'll also include a visit to classrooms, so you can actually see what's going on. There'll be an opportunity to talk to parents as well. The schools tend to have a group of parents there as well to answer questions. And you'll hear all about that. And again, if you can't go in person, there is that online opportunity. It'll be Sandra and I again. Next slide. So with that, we want to open it up to questions you might have. We know this is just your first taste, your first visit to the district probably, but we're happy to answer questions, and you can raise them at any time and we'll unmute you and give you a chance to talk. So I see Lynn has had her hand up for a little while. So Lynn, why don't you go ahead? Lynn, you'll have to unmute yourself. All right, well, we will come back if you still want to ask a question. I see Michelle has her hand up. Hold on a second. Oh, I need to promote you momentarily. All right, Michelle, you can unmute.
Hi, can you hear me now?
We can.
Oh, great. Okay, this is perfect. So I actually have 3 questions, but one of them I think is pretty quick. Is that, can I go ahead? Okay, so the first one is, what is the class size and student teacher ratio? I guess I'm speaking generally for maybe all the grade levels if you're able to generalize, but also specifically for kindergarten.
Sure. So I can give you maximums. These aren't target sizes, but they are maximums. In our lower grades, K through 3rd, it's 25 is the maximum. In our upper grades, 30 is the maximum. But if we look at what the reality is in classrooms, the average right now in kindergarten is probably around 20, maybe a little below 20 right now. And in upper grades, it varies pretty significantly, as low as 22 is, and as high as 30 in a couple places. So.
Okay, and there's in kindergarten, it sounded like there was a teacher and maybe also an aide.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So for my next 2, I'm prefacing this by saying I didn't grow up in California. I went to public school in Texas, K through 12. So I'm still learning what to expect in California, and in particular, the Los Altos School District. So thank you in advance for helping me understand better. So I guess my second question of 3 is what is the music program like?
Sandra, do you want to talk about that?
Yep, absolutely. So in, excuse me, in TK3, our school sites contract with, I believe they're all using Starting Arts, which is a local fabulous performing arts group who works with schools around the county. And depending on the school, some schools do only music, which would be mostly singing and some light instruments, but others might do a rotation of drama, music, and dance typically. So it really varies school by school. Each school kind of has their traditional Starting Arts program. And then when we hit 4th grade, our 4th through 6th grade students, we have our own LASD music teachers. So our 4th graders have a weekly music class where they're learning how to read music, how to play music, they're singing, they're doing learning recorders is kind of their early instrument. And by the end of 4th grade, they're preparing to select an instrument. So our 5th and 6th graders can make a choice if they want to continue with an instrument in either an orchestra or a band instrument. And we also have a music exploration course for students who don't want to pursue an instrument in 5th and 6th grade. And then when we hit our junior high schools, we have phenomenal students who are already well-versed in their instrument and continue their instrumental experience or choral experience if they're interested in that at our middle schools.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And then my last question is there a gifted and talented education component / how does the district handle different skill levels of students in the same class? And I'm thinking, you guys talked about it with kindergarten with the reading, pulling out groups of students. That makes sense to me. But maybe in the upper grades, how is that handled? And I'm also thinking in particular for math.
Yeah, so we've really selected curriculum that allows us to be able to flex because we know across grades, especially in elementary school, that there's sometimes a very wide gap in skills between students within a classroom. So all of our curriculum, including our math curriculum, allows for small groups, allows for some opportunity for individualization. We do not have a specific gifted and talented program within the district, but we have so many deep opportunities for students to really pursue a passion, to learn deeply in a particular area of interest. We do have very unique cases where students show some extreme giftedness within a particular subject or across subjects, and we work with families and teachers to help design a program to meet the needs of those children.
Want to talk about math, Sandra?
And then within math, again, our students typically stay within their grade levels. And again, teachers are pulling small groups and that's being individualized. And then once we hit 6th grade, at the end of 5th grade, all of our students, we look at their assessment data from the year and give a couple of placement assessments. And so in 6th grade is the first year where we branch. And we have a 6th grade math class, CC6, Common Core grade 6. And then some of our students go into a 6-7 compacted class where they're learning the 7th grade standards. And those students then move on from CC6 in junior high. They go into algebra in 7th grade and take geometry honors in 8th grade. The students who are in CC6, the grade level course in 6th grade, when they go to 7th grade, it has an additional split. So you can be in the 7th grade math and then continue to 8th grade math and take algebra in 9th grade in high school. Or you can go into a 7-8 compacted class in 7th grade and then take algebra with us in 8th grade. Whew, math.
That's impressive. You kept that straight. Okay. I think I got it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's all on our website too, all of the branches.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah. Under the academics tab and curriculum, you can see some more information about mathematics.
Oh, okay. Great.
And many other programs.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
I will say, Michelle, your question's a good one. And when we get often, our students in general are very high performing, with about somewhere between 85 and 90% of our students scoring above grade level or at grade level. So we are used to and very accustomed to needing to gear our program for that set of students.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I can't believe that's the only set of questions.
All right. Lena, welcome.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
we can.
Lena.
Okay, awesome. So, I already have a child in Egan now. So coming back to preschool is going to be
Oh, wow.
back. So our home school is Santa Rita, and so I was hoping that you do have a TK in Santa Rita again this year.
We do, yes.
Awesome.
And I expect that will be there next year as well.
Okay, great. So I was wondering if you have any after school activities in addition to care on campus at Santa Rita.
Absolutely. So Mrs. Ortiz is our TK teacher at Santa Rita, and she has taught it there since the program began. She's a fabulous, fabulous TK teacher. But each of our schools works with their PTAs, their parent teacher associations, to develop after school a variety of activities. And again, those vary school by school. We offer language classes, sports classes, chess or math enrichment, all sorts of interesting things really based on the particular school community. So including Santa Rita, there are lots of offerings. I believe they do it by trimester. So those offerings change over time.
Okay. Okay. I had another question, which is not related to after school, is the event that you have on the 2nd of December in person, is that going to be a parent-only event, or is it okay to bring the little ones along?
That's a great question.
So the events are geared for parents. I think it would be okay, Lena, to call the school and ask if they are providing any kind of childcare there, because oftentimes they will work with the childcare on the site to provide that.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Those were the only questions. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you,
Welcome back.
Lena.
All right, Christy Ho.
Hi.
Hi, Christy.
Hi. I don't know if this was asked, and I just tried to look it online, but it wasn't super clear. Do all the elementary schools have a TK program?
They do not. So currently this year, we serve all TK students from across the district, all 7 schools. But this year we have one site, one class over at Santa Rita, and we have another class over at Springer. So kind of on our 2 ends, we often have one at Almond School. We've had one at Loyola School. So really just based on the number of students we serve, we continue to open classes.
Okay, so I'm in the Covington area. So my son, for example, would be able to have the chance to go to whichever school is closest. Is that the idea?
That is absolutely the idea. We try to make it easy on folks.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right, Michelle is back.
Hi again. I was wondering, how do parents communicate with the teachers? Like, is email a possibility, or do you have time to talk with them before or after class? And how often is it preferred to do only at conferences, or just how does that work?
We have a really open door policy between teachers and parents. I will tell you, it's tricky right before school is starting, because trying to corral, 15 or 20 or so 4 and 5-year-olds is not the easiest thing to do. So I know the teachers prefer a bit of a heads up, but they're happy to set an appointment with you before school or after school. Phone is great. Email is definitely the easiest way to kind of set up an appointment, whether you want to come in or have a call on the phone, or we're all used to Zoom now too, or Google Meets is what we use around campus. So, and it's not just limited to your conference time. If you have a concern, your teacher wants to hear about it. If you have questions, your teachers want to answer those questions. And we do a lot of push communication from our end. We would expect in our elementary schools that parents are getting a weekly update. Many of our folks do those on Friday, kind of recapping the week and looking to the week ahead. Some of them push it out on Sunday night or Monday, but you will get a lot of communication from your teachers, so you feel like you're in the loop.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? All right, not seeing any. We will bid you farewell. We are always here. If you think of something afterwards, happy to answer those questions. Just feel free to email. Our email addresses are both on the website. If you can't remember, you can just send it to me at superintendent@lasdschools.org. I'll give a quick little shout out on the call here tonight. I see Bridget Stolars, who is our registrar. When you register your child, you will most definitely be meeting and interacting with Bridget. She is a great welcome to our school district, and we're just happy you're here and excited to have your child join our family here in LASD. It's an incredible experience. So have a great night. Thanks for being here, and perhaps we will see you at another one.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.